The Sixers got the guy they wanted in free agency, signing Paul George to a 4-year, $212 million deal. The Sixers couldn't have asked for a more perfect fit next to Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Now, Paul George isn't the superstar he once was, but he's still a damn good player, coming off a season averaging 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. This video will break down why Paul George will be an amazing fit on the 76ers and how he makes them legit title contenders. Let's start off with the offensive end. With Paul George, the 76ers finally have another high-level shot creator. His shooting and handles are ridiculously good, able to not only use off-the-dribble moves to get to the basket, but also to create space to get his shot off. But it's worth mentioning that at age 34, he's not as athletic as he used to be, so his game is much more heavily reliant on creating jump shots off the dribble since he can't always beat his man to the rim. This was exposed in the playoffs against the Mavericks when Kawhi Leonard went down with injury. Once Paul George became the defense's primary focus, he really struggled, especially in the last 2 games of that series. Fortunately, the Sixers will be asking George to do a lot less on offense. On this team, he's clearly the number 3 option behind Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, and he should thrive in that role thanks to his incredible off-ball skills, especially as a shooter. Last season, he shot the best percentage from behind the arc in his career, draining 41% of his threes on a high-volume 8 attempts a game. At 6'9" with a high release point, he's able to drain these catch-and-shoot threes even when the defender gets a hand up. Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey both draw a ton of defensive attention, so Paul George should feast on the open looks he gets from them. Paul George is also great at attacking closeouts, so when defenders rotate onto him, he can put the ball on the deck, get to the basket, and finish at the rim. He's also a great cutter, so when his man tries to deny him the ball, PG knows to cut hard and get an easy dunk or a layup. Those excellent off-ball skills should allow him to flourish next to Embiid and Maxey offensively. Paul George should be primarily off the ball when playing next to Embiid and Maxey, but the Sixers are also going to utilize his on-ball skills. Now, we didn't get to see much of that last season because Paul George had to play next to James Harden, but PG is an excellent pick-and-roll ball handler and facilitator. Because he's so good at scoring on all 3 levels, he can generate great shots for himself out of that 2-man game. This forces defenses to zero in on him, allowing him to set up the roll man for an easy basket, and Zubac was the primary beneficiary of Paul George hitting the roll man on the Clippers. That deadly pick and roll action tends to suck defenses into the paint, and Paul George has the vision to kick the ball out and find open shooters. The Paul George, Joel Embiid 2-man game should generate some great shots for the Sixers offense. For the Sixers, this is exactly what they need. In their first round series against the Knicks, the non-Embiid minutes were an absolute killer. They were a plus 34 when Embiid played, but a minus 38 when he had to sit down. And this was largely thanks to not having another ball handler outside of Maxey that could run the offense. In theory, Tobias Harris was supposed to be that guy, but he shrunk when he was needed the most, averaging just 9 points per game in the series and scoring 0 in Game 6. With Paul George in the picture, the Sixers can stagger the minutes of their big 3 and keep someone that could create offense at an elite level on the floor at all times. This makes Paul George the perfect fit next to Embiid and Maxey offensively, able to complement them with his off-ball scoring, but also able to step up and be the primary ball handler when needed. Not only will Paul George be a huge plus for what the Sixers can do offensively, but he's also going to add to what they do defensively. His incredible physical tools and athleticism makes him an amazing on-ball defender, able to guard the opposing team's best player and hold them below their averages. He's also one of the most switchable defenders in the league, having the agility to defend quick point guards, but also having the size and strength to defend big forwards. He's also very active when off the ball, using those long arms of his and his anticipation skills to pick off passes and get steals. And along with signing Paul George, the Sixers also brought back Kelly Oubre on a 2-year deal. Now the Sixers have 2 very good perimeter defenders, and combined with what Embiid brings as a shot blocker and a rim protector, the Sixers should move within the top 10 in defense next season. Overall, the Paul George pickup was the absolute best case scenario for the Sixers this offseason. Overnight, they now have one of the best big threes in basketball. With how much Paul George improves the Sixers on both ends of the floor, it's fair to say they belong back in the championship conversation. Now, are the Sixers the favorite in the East? Probably not. The Celtics are still going to be the favorite in the Eastern Conference next season, but the Sixers are now a legit threat to dethrone Boston. Of course, everything hinges on Joel Embiid's health. It's a recurring theme now that Embiid has an MVP level regular season, but his play drops off in the playoffs due to injury. The Sixers need Embiid to be good to go come playoff time. I'm sure plenty of fans are also concerned about Paul George's health at age 34, but he did play in 74 regular season games last season, and he played in all the Clippers playoff games. If the Sixers can stay healthy, they have a legit shot at finally bringing home the championship to the city of brotherly love. But now I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of the Paul George signing? Does he make the 76ers legit title contenders? Let me see your thoughts down below in the comment section. Guys, I'm going to continue to talk about the Sixers along with other NBA teams all off season long. So if this sounds like something that would interest you, consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching and have an amazing rest of your day.